Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex topics and, well, we try to pull out the really important stuff for you. Today, we're diving into something fascinating, something that's really changing how we handle conflict. How is artificial intelligence, AI, changing something as, fundamentally human as resolving disputes? We're going to focus specifically on the ethics for mediators, using John Shamaw's article, AI and Dispute Resolution, Ethical Considerations for Mediators as our guide. Our mission, to unpack what AI means for things like fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, all the big ones.
It's a huge shift, definitely. AI isn't just another tool in the box. It's fundamentally altering how people access justice, how it's delivered, especially with online dispute resolution ODR platforms becoming so common. And look, there's a lot of promise, right? Efficiency, cost savings, potentially huge benefits. But like you said, it also opens up some really critical ethical questions. Understanding this is vital, not just for lawyers or mediators, but really for anyone interested in the future of justice, because it is happening now.
Okay, let's get practical then. When we say AI in dispute resolution, what are we actually seeing? What's happening on the ground?
Well, it's already being used in quite a few ways, and it's growing fast. For example, AI that understands language, natural language processing, NLP is being used to automate the first steps, intake, triage.
So sorting cases automatically.
Exactly, like a super fast digital clerk getting things organized. Then you have chatbots. They can give procedural guidance, answer basic questions, walk people through the process. And maybe the most interesting part is predictive analytics. AI looking at past cases to suggest likely outcomes.
Wow, like predicting the future of a dispute.
Sort of, yeah. Offering insights based on data patterns. We're also seeing AI tools in civil mediation, helping with data analysis, making the process smoother. But the key thing is, while it boosts efficiency, it fundamentally changes the mediator's job. It's less traditional facilitation, more digital oversight, ethical stewardship, really.
That's a profound change. So, okay, if AI is doing more, what are those core ethical principles that mediators must hold on to? Where's the line?
That's precisely the central question. The article highlights 4 key pillars. First, fairness. This means mediators have to be incredibly vigilant about algorithmic bias.
Bias creeping into the code.
Right. AI can accidentally reflect or even amplify existing societal biases found in the data it learns from. So mediators need to watch out for discriminatory outcomes, even subtle ones. They need to be that human check.
A human firewall, you called it? That sounds like a big responsibility. What's next?
Second is transparency. Parties involved have a right to know how AI is being used in their case. What's it doing? What are its limits? You can't really have informed consent without that openness.
Makes sense. No black boxes making decisions about your life.
Exactly. Third, accountability. Even with AI suggestions, the human mediator has to remain in charge. They're ultimately responsible for the decisions and the process. The AI assists, it doesn't command.
The buck stops with the human.
Precisely. And fourth, privacy. This is huge. Mediators have a duty to protect all the sensitive data that flows through these systems. They need to make sure everything complies with privacy laws and ethical standards. It's fundamental to trust.
Okay, those 4, fairness, transparency, accountability, privacy, seem essential. But let's talk about the risks. What's the potential dark side mediators need to watch out for?
Well, the risks are pretty significant if we're not careful. We mentioned algorithmic bias already. That's a big one. It can skew results and reinforce inequality. Then there's the risk of lack of informed consent. If people don't really understand the AI's role, the legitimacy of the whole process is undermined.
Right, they might agree without knowing what they're agreeing to.
Exactly. Another major concern is over-reliance on automation. We risk losing the human touch, the empathy, the nuanced understanding that's often crucial, especially in really difficult emotional cases.
You can't automate empathy, can you?
Not really, no. And finally, the ever-present risk of data security breaches. If sensitive information gets leaked, it shatters trust in the whole digital system. So yeah, these challenges mean we need strong ethical safeguards, constant checks and balances.
It helps to see how this works in the real world. Can you give us some examples? Where is AI actually being integrated right now?
Sure. The article points to a few good examples. In the UK, there's the HMCTS online mediation pilot. That's the court service trying out AI in the public sector.
So government-led innovation.
Yes. And then in the private sector, think about eBay's Resolution Center. It handles millions of disputes largely automatically. It shows how scalable AI can be for certain types of conflicts.
Right, high volume, maybe lower complexity stuff.
Often, yes. Another example is Smart Settle, which offers tools that actively help parties during negotiation using AI to find common ground. But even with these successes, they all highlight the need for those ethical frameworks we talked about. Human oversight is still key.
Which brings us back to the human element. So what is the future for the human mediator? Are they being sidelined, or is it more of a transformation?
It's definitely a transformation, not a replacement. Think of it this way. As AI gets better at handling the more straightforward, routine cases.
The ones that don't need as much nuance.
Precisely. Human mediators will increasingly focus on the more complex, emotionally charged disputes, the ones where empathy, creativity, and deep human understanding are absolutely essential. They'll also be vital for handling appeals or cases where the AI just hits a wall.
The tricky stuff.
The really tricky stuff. And perhaps most importantly, they become the ethical guardians. They oversee the AI, ensure it's used fairly, keep the process human-centered. So mediators need to get comfortable with the tech, yes, but also become advocates for ethical use. Educating parties, pushing for standards. It's a shift towards a more strategic oversight role.
Okay, so they become tech-savvy ethical guardians. That makes sense. So how do we support that? What does the article recommend in terms of policies or practices?
It lays out some clear, practical steps. First, mandatory transparency disclosures. Every platform using AI should have to clearly state how it's being used. No exceptions.
Just make it standard practice.
Exactly. Second, targeted AI ethics training for mediators. Not just how to use the software, but how to critically evaluate it, understand its limitations, spot potential bias.
Build their critical skills.
Right. Third, embedding human-in-the-loop safeguards. This means ensuring a human can always intervene and override the AI, especially in significant decisions. There must always be a path for human judgment.
Keep humans in control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, developing sector-wide ethical guidelines. We need consistent standards across the board so everyone's operating under the same ethical expectations, regardless of the specific platform or location. So, wrapping this up, the main point is, AI is here to stay in dispute resolution. It's becoming part of the furniture. But the human mediator isn't just relevant. They are central to making this work ethically and effectively. The goal should always be for technology to serve justice, not to become it. And mediators are the key to ensuring that happens responsibly. Their role is arguably more critical than ever.
That really frames it well. It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As AI weaves itself into more and more corners of our lives, how do we make absolutely sure that those core human values, fairness, empathy, accountability, stay firmly in charge, especially when it comes to something as fundamental as justice? What does our society look like if we get that balance wrong? Or perhaps more hopefully, what could it achieve if we get it profoundly right? It really underscores how vital that human role becomes, even maybe especially in our increasingly digital world.